Welcome back to Grit and Grow with Megan and Sarah. Today's episode is Action Answers Scheduling.
I find the beauty in commotion, swimming by the gale, miles away.
Hello, welcome to Grit and Grow with Megan and Sarah and Megan. We are here today to talk more about action and answers. So we've put out a bit of content now talking on mindset, talking on functionality, really. And so today we wanted to talk about, what do we talk about, Megan?
Scheduling, something that I definitely need work with.
Scheduling is such a fun thing for me to talk about because years and years ago, I felt like I cracked the code. And it was a really silly thing, but I started doing this thing called 10 Minutes to Success. And that was where I believed I could get anything done in my business in 10-minute blocks. I just chose to create that belief and I accepted it and I ran with it. And so in a 10-minute block, I could send an email. In a 10-minute block, I could ask for a sale. In a 10-minute block, I could get a new lead. In a 10-minute block, I could create content. And then I realized, okay, sometimes I can't create what I want to create in 10 minutes. And so then I'd start to stack blocks. So it's going to take me 3 10-minute blocks to get this thing done. And what that did for me when I was a nursing mama with baby number 6, and I had all the kids at home. Pardon me, did I have all the kids at home? It was crazy. I had at least 4 of them home, 5 of them home. But that allowed me to take my little bit of 10 minutes. And it literally was when I'm nursing. I'm going to sit here for 10 minutes and nurse this baby. And so I can't get up and do anything else. And so I worked on my phone. And that allowed me to create the success I wanted with the tight schedule that I had, instead of saying, I don't have time, or instead of saying, I'm overwhelmed, or instead of saying, it's too much. So you just like called yourself out right at the beginning. You're like, oh, I'm horrible at this. So if you had the belief that you weren't horrible about this, what like tip or trick would you right away, share with the audience before I dive into why this is so important?
So to preface this, I have a hard time because my business is like I'm now booked tomorrow. Like I have 2 or 3 massages tomorrow. So like it's hard. So what I found, what does work for me, just so you know, what does work for me if I can stick to it, is on Sunday, I write up a list of what I want to do and how many times. So like I want to put posts out, or I want to do this, and I want to do posts 4 times. I want to talk to people this many times. I want to do this many new people. And then I don't put specific times on them. I just put, this is what I want to do this many times. And as I get it done, I can check it off Monday. Then I create a calendar Monday through Friday or Saturday, and I check off how many times I did it. And for me, that works better than actually putting times in, because I can be very scattered with my day. So for me, that works better when I can make myself do it. I have a very hard time when I'm not at the office having any kind of schedule, and I need to get better at that. And I know I do, and I'm working on it. I'm a work in progress.
You better be careful, or we're going to come up with things that I'm holding you accountable around scheduling. And you have already created yourself a list of things I'm holding you accountable. Speaking of which, how do the muscles feel? How are you feeling working out 2 days in a row?
Yeah, tomorrow I'm taking a break already.
Rest days are musts. And so it brings me right into why is scheduling important? Megan was just talking about the fact that she went to the gym. She was able to get to the gym. She's talking about scheduling her massage clients. And if we don't write these things down, if we don't schedule these things, they don't happen. And so I really want to encourage everybody who's listening to the podcast today to take on a new belief about scheduling and about managing your time. Megan was sharing that on Sundays, she decides, I'm going to do, I need to make 5 posts. I need to do this many times. And that's how it works best for her, is knowing the actions she needs to take, and not putting them necessarily into the calendar, except for things that have to be at a certain time, like her massage appointments. So that's a really excellent way to do it. I right now am kind of in the same season where I am putting things on my calendar. and blocking them off. So I know ahead of time, like I knew today what podcast we were recording. I knew what time we were meeting. And, I know same thing about tomorrow. I know when I have time to work tomorrow and when I have, scheduled appointments for my kids. And this has only been able to happen for me when years ago I realized I am not getting to spend time with my kids the way I want to. Other than being employed or having a job that sets your own hours, I put my family into my schedule first. So every Sunday, kind of like Megan does, I get out my book. I have 2 books that I use. I have a journal and a planner, and I'm still a written person. That's how old I am. I make a list of the things I need to get done that week, whether it's grocery shopping or this appointment or this website that I'm building for a client. I make a list of things I need to get done. And then I look at my calendar and I start to book them out because I set my own calendar around my kids' appointments. So my kids' stuff goes in there first. Then obviously the non-negotiables go in there first. I can't negotiate when Octavia's post-op appointment is. They gave me that time. I will show up at that time. But I book my client calls around them. So like next week, I have a client that I'm meeting with 3 days in a row at 6 a.m. my time, which is just wonderful because that's 9 a.m. her time. And 6 a.m. it's still quiet in my house. It's a great time for me to have a live client call. And so that's how I book my schedule in these blocks of time. I use both of those methods, the making a list and scheduling it out, and then knowing that I can get this stuff done in 10 minutes. So I will oftentimes set a timer. I'm like, okay, I have 10 minutes until I'm going to go do this thing. I'm going to write this blog post.
Well, and I mean, I would never say anything like, doesn't work. It does work when I do it. My issue is sticking to it. And I think it's definitely a mental thing where I'm like, I don't want to have set time for things because I'm like, that just stresses me out. I have my whole day at work at the office is scheduled. Like it's 30-minute massages, 60-minute massages, 90-minute massages. So when I don't have to live by that clock, I prefer not to live by a clock. I just,
Right.
and I know that that's more of a mental thing and I need to deal with it. And I am trying to. This is the one of the things that it's hard for me to get past. And so I don't know why,
Right.
but it is. And so I will eventually get past it. I have everything. I have Trello on my phone. I have written calendars. I have my business calendar that I put everything on. I have Google Calendar. I have everything, and I don't stick to anything except for the actual appointment.
The actual appointments. Well, and so like I'm gonna like lean into coach mode here for just a moment and ask you, why do you think you're so bad at this when I, who's known you for lots of years, I know that you arrive at your appointments, and if you're not going to, I know there's communication. And also, I know the many different types of appointments you have, from appointments with yourself at the gym to IEP meetings to massages to dates with your partner, your husband. So, like, I know that you write things down, you show up for things, you're on time for things. You budget things down to the minute, if I remember last Friday correctly, my love. So what I'm finding and I'm hearing, and also I just want to like reiterate, Megan does use tools. She uses things like Trello. I also use Trello. She uses a calendar. I also use a calendar. She uses a Google Calendar. These are tools that you can use. Please reach out. We'll help you get these tools set up if you need any help setting up those tools. But so I hear Megan's good at this. Megan uses tools, and Megan doesn't feel successful with how she uses her time. That's
where you would think that from.
Because you told me. You just told the podcast and all of our viewers, I know I'm not very good at this. I need to get better at this. And the whole time, like, hang on. You are actually very good at this. What?
Maybe I just don't I don't know. I'll figure it out.
We might have to circle back to this at another time and dig back into this one because this is adorable. You can't even look at me right now.
I mean, I buy these awesome little books that does everything. This one, and they're
Books
blank.
Don't do things.
They're blank.
Books don't do things. Yeah, they're inanimate objects. We got to do stuff to them.
Man, can't it just write itself?
If my book can't, your calendar can't. Now, my next question is, do you actually want to transform your belief about this?
Yeah, I know. I need to, and I would like to. Always, I'm really good at kind of taking away from that, like go somewhere else with it.
What? Oh, I don't have my, I wish I had it right now. The flashlight thing. I'm like, oh, hang on. Hang on.
So, for you guys listening, this is something that Sarah and I both do. So, I'll get Sarah in, I'll be coaching Sarah. I will ask her a question and she goes off over here. And I'm like, come back. Come back. I actually asked you a specific question, so I ask it again. Then she got over here. And it's because she's not comfortable with it. And I know she's not comfortable with it. That's why I keep asking it. So she's staying on me because she knows I'm not comfortable with this because I know what I need to do and I can schedule.
What,
I
what do you
just
need to do?
I need to be better at scheduling and I need to actually sit there and put it down on paper or something and not just go in my head. That's my biggest issue is I'm like, oh, I'll keep this all in my head. I can keep it all in my head.
So when you say put it down on paper, what is it that needs to go down on paper that's not going down on paper right now?
Everything that like all like taking time out to do each task that I know I need to do. No, I need to put it down
Right.
on paper. And I put it down when you and I are talking. I'm like, oh yeah, let me write down what I need to do. And then I put it to the side and I don't ever look at it again. I don't sit there and put it into my schedule like you need to do this, you need to do that.
Got it. Got it. So so what I'm hearing is like you're really only missing the step of putting it in the calendar. You make the plan, you know what you need to do, and then you keep it in your head. And what you're also telling me is it gets done because we've seen it get done.
Most
And
of the
so
time, I mean, sometimes
do
it
you
gets
need,
done. Sometimes it gets
okay.
done, sometimes it doesn't. Because sometimes I'm like, oh, I got this to do instead. I forgot I have this to do. Oh, I forgot I have this to do. Because everything's in here. And here can
Ah,
get a little bit, much sometimes.
the barrier files, the blocks and
Yes,
barriers we talked about.
there's
Yeah, yeah.
definitely some
Okay.
barriers there.
That's interesting. Well, I'm just wondering, like, do you need to hang on to writing it down and using the planners and using in the books? Because if things are getting done, then there's no breakdown, there's no problem. But if things are not getting done, then okay, then let's try to institute some new way to, close that gap. But you don't necessarily have to do that. That's one thing, like when I let go of that, when I'm like, what do you mean I don't have to do it that way? Well, because if it's not a necessary step for you, it's not a necessary step for you. Some people don't need to make grocery lists. Cool. Don't ever make a grocery list. If that works for you, awesome. Me personally, I have to have a grocery list because when I get into the grocery store, I always have children with me. It's overwhelming for me. There's lots of people, there's lots of things going on. I need to know what I'm getting based on a list because my creative brain, I can't access that part of my brain when I'm there. I can't tell you if I have milk in my fridge at home. I don't know. So I made a list. And so everybody's different. Other people would be like, why are you making a list? Just go and buy the things you need. Then you do that. And so do you need to write it down? Or because it sounds like you make the list and then you know what you need to do during the week. Maybe you could get more specific about what's being missed.
Well, I can
What is on
always
your list that you're consistently not doing?
I got there's a lot of the for me, a lot of like I know what I need to do, but then I can always like with the whole working out at home, I can always think
Mm-hmm.
of other things that I need to do also. So then I'm like, oh well, I'll put that off till later, and then things specifically around my business a lot of times will get put off and then put off, and then I'm like, oh my God, it's been a week. I haven't done anything for my business because I've been doing this massages, which is business. But other things like the computer type stuff is what I don't get done as much because I like to be active. And so for me, when I have to sit in front of a computer for a long period of time, I sometimes will if I know it's coming, and that's why I got this handy new desk that I can stand up
Oh, I love it.
and sit down because if I'm sitting for too long, I get antsy. And if I know I need to sit for a period of time, I'll put it off as long as possible.
So by being able to stand, have you found that you're not avoiding the computer tasks as much?
Not yet.
Absolutely. I'm gonna call you out because yes, we are. Because I'm sorry, this is podcast number 6. We are getting so much work done.
Well, yes,
All
some
right.
parts of it are getting done, but some parts of it I'm still putting off.
Okay. Okay. Well, and so we've kind of dived into the next topic that I wanted to talk about when it comes to scheduling and time blocks and the importance of scheduling, and that's prioritizing. So she's getting some things done without needing to put them down, without needing to book them, and she's getting some things done by booking them. And so she really is doing a great job of prioritizing. And at the same time, she wants to create something different. She wants to create something new. And so when we dive into this, you figure out what could you let go of or what could you add in, because oftentimes we cannot add in unless we're willing to let go of something. And so what could we add in that would allow you to get the list of tasks that we haven't dived into yet completed? And that for me is what's so cool about scheduling and prioritizing and working things out in time blocks, and then taking that Sunday to plan for the next weekend, look back and reflect and be like, what did I get done? What did I avoid? Why did I avoid it? And how can I get it done next week?
Sorry, the dog's
Because
making
I know what
noise.
I'm avoiding.
What are
and me
you
both,
avoiding?
sister. Working out. I worked out at all. I walked down to the mailbox yesterday to get her scrub bear. It's so cute. I should go get it and show it. And I got back and I sat down at the kitchen table and I set down the package and went to get something to open it. She's like, "What's wrong with you?" And I was like, "I just walked up and down the big hill. I'm out of breath."
Yeah, I know
That's a
one of
straight
my
call you
things
out.
is writing stuff down. Is that step of writing stuff down is just very bleh to me. And it's
Yeah.
just an extra step. That's why I try to keep it all in my head, is because that's just an extra step. And I'm a very efficient person. In case you haven't realized that about me, I like the efficiency. So therefore, writing something down to tell me to do something at another time, it to me is just inefficient. So I keep it all in my head. But the problem is when I get stressed out and when I get like with what's been going on with Brianna, when I get to
Yeah.
that point, everything just jumbles up in my head and I get overwhelmed. And that's really where
Right.
the problem comes, is I get stressed over something unrelated and now everything gets jumbled and I'm like, I know I was supposed to do something today. What was it? And I just can't remember.
Right. Well, and that's why we're here doing this podcast, is because you know yourself well enough that you know your cycle, and now you're looking to create something different and adding in either a tool, a piece of accountability, something. And that's why it's so awesome to be in this space of having this conversation, so that we can create that. You can create that. And then next week you can come back and be like, "What's different? What light bulb?"
I need an assistant. That's what I need.
You're raising one right now. You're about to go pick her up.
I need an assistant that keeps the calendar for me and then tells me what to do. There you go.
Girl, your child might be really, really good at that job. You might have just created a solution. What if you guys right now came up with 5 minutes, 10 minutes where you go over the calendar and the schedule so that she can help mommy stay on track? Because then she knows when is her time with mommy, because she went over mommy's schedule with her in the morning. And then as she gets older, I mean, obviously a 7-year-old can't hold you accountable to your business meetings or your work clients or anything like that. But you know what? It might sound crazy. Your 9-year-old probably could get home from school and be like, "How's that client call, mama?"
Yeah, and she really likes telling me what to do too. So, that would help her, make her
Give
feel
her
better.
give her permission and boundaries with which to do it. I've seen that girl thrive when you're like, "This is how it's gonna go." I'm excited to see this go, actually.
That's what I called. I had something like the BNI group that I'm in. I'm the VP, and one of the president had asked me to do something, and I'm like, I have no problem doing that. But I know that I had the IEP meeting today. So I need you to text it to me later that you need me to do this so that it reminds me to do it. I said, I hate to ask you to be my temporary assistant, but I need that today because I know that with the IEP meeting, and I just have a feeling that I'm just going to be like, my brain is not going to work after it. And the only way to get it done, if you really want me to get it done today, is you need to text me that information so that it reminds me that I need to do it.
Right. And making that so powerful. You knew exactly what you needed. You knew how to ask for it. And I guarantee you got it, didn't you?
Oh yeah, she said, I'll do anything for you, sweetheart. She's like, I'll do anything for you,
Well,
honey, because I know that you got a lot on your plate and you're doing so much. And she's like, and I have no problem supporting you in any way I can.
and that's beautiful. Like, and I don't know if you can feel that, but
Hmm.
like that's the world you've created for yourself, and it's amazing. And so I'm really excited to be on this journey and doing this podcast with you and watching us both grow, because as we said a couple podcasts ago, you're going to be a completely transformed person when you open the new location, when you transform that other business. It's exciting. It's exciting.
Well, and that's kind of I if you had well you did know me, but you didn't know me very well back then. But back before I really took on my business as my business, the massage business is my business. I worked for other people and I did some massages on my own, but when before that I had this ability to do things and I just couldn't figure out where I wanted to go with it. And finally I said, you know what? I'm done working for other people. I'm doing this for myself. And when at that point, I'll never forget the day my brother called me. He was like, I'm completely going off track and I'm so sorry. Supposed to be talking about
You're
scheduling.
okay.
But
You're fine. Go ahead.
he was like, Maggie, this person lets you go. And I'm like, yeah, that's because of my mouth. I made it so that she let me go because I didn't want to work there anymore. He's like, you need to get unemployment. You need to do this. You need to do this. And I'm like, why? And he's like, well, you don't have a clientele. I was like, really? Let me pull this up. Do you want to see? Do you want to know how many clients I have booked for the next 5 weeks? Do you want to know how many I've had on my own for the last 3 weeks? Do you want to know what the income ratio is? Do you want to know how many new clients I've had in the last 30 days, in the last 90 days, in the last 120 days? He's like, you know all that? I'm like, I can run that report in a heartbeat. I was like, Matt, I got this. And he's like, and that was the first time my brother ever said he was proud of me. He's like, you do got this. And I was like, I don't know where it came from, but I got this.
Right. Do you know what I realized too as you were talking about that? I'm like, so somebody introduced to you, you don't have to do things the way that people tell you you have to do things, or that you've always known how to do things. He was trying to say you don't have to go on unemployment, just go launch your own business and move on with things. And that's not an idea that would come, that's like thinking out of the box. And we don't get there without that little bit of help and that little bit of support. Girl, you've got an amazing family. That's cool.
I do. Like my brother is one, he doesn't he doesn't get caught up in the family drama, but when you need him, he's there. And, my mom and dad, my mom has always given me the space for my pity parties when I need them. But then the next day she's like, okay, what are you doing to change? They've
Yeah.
always been very much about, and I was just explaining it. We got off talking a little while ago so I could talk to my coach. Well, not my coach. She's actually my
Mhm.
psychologist, but I said I've always been a solutions girl. I don't
Yeah.
dwell on the problem. I look for solutions, and that's what was driving me nuts with Brianna was there was no solution because I didn't know the problem. Now I know the problem. They're
Right.
solutions. They're not permanent solutions, but they're
Yeah.
things that will help. And that's the thing. Like with scheduling, I'm going to bring this back to scheduling. With scheduling, my hardest thing is I don't know how to solve that problem of my schedule always changing. And with massage
Right.
and with coaching, my schedule's always changing. And I don't know how to solve that problem yet. And once I get to a point in which I can solve that problem, and most likely you'll be walk away or step away from doing as many massages and really go into coaching and only set specific hours for coaching, that's probably going to have to be the solution. Then I'll be better at scheduling because I'll have
Right.
set times. But right now it's like anything goes.
Right.
Anything goes.
Right. I raised my little hand because I realized as you were talking, I'm like, well, the way to solve a problem is to stop thinking it's a problem. What if it's not no longer a problem? Well, and obviously this doesn't apply to everywhere. I don't necessarily feel like your scheduling is a problem to solve, or your variable schedule is a problem to solve. I think that you need to accept that this is how my schedule works. So it's not necessarily a problem to solve, the transforming your schedule. It's this is what I have to work with, and now I'm going to find solutions. So like I want you to try to embrace your flexible schedule. I want you to try to embrace that my schedule is always going to be varied. I want you to embrace the way that you're doing things. If I make a list of needs to get done and it gets done throughout the day, that's what I mean. I want you to take you out of the mindset of it's a problem and I'm not very good at this to crap, I'm getting so much done. And I want you to think about, let's add in 4 new activities. And so you need 20 minutes a day. What could you potentially give up to add in 20 minutes a day? That might not be possible. There might be days where that's not possible.
I was
But
just gonna
depending
say
on
working out.
how tangible your goal is, how tangible is your goal? Yeah, the working out. Like how much can you feel that goal? Then you will find that 20 minutes to get those extra 4 tasks done. Are you regretting standing up because you're sore from the gym?
Yes, my abs hurt.
I can see it on your face.
It's all in the abs. The laughing
I'm
isn't
so
helping
proud of you
either.
though. On our last podcast, I literally started going like this. I'm like, why does it hurt behind my ears? And it's because I had been laughing so much.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
So
we tend to make each other laugh a lot.
what I find interesting right now is that you and I coach from very different perspectives. So you are very much a physical wellness leading from, and meanwhile I want to talk about scheduling and business and goals, and and so it's awesome to me when we start talking about this kind of stuff because it comes from such a different mindset. So like, really, what area of your life do you want to improve? And then that's what you need to sprinkle in. And sometimes it might be the same thing that you need to take out. Like if I decide to get serious about my health and fitness, then I will need to take out some of my unhealthy things and I will need to add in some of the healthy things. It's really, it's that simple, but it can be that hard to stick to it.
It can be. It looks like I
And
just
that's,
got
I think,
another
why we keep
massage.
going back to prioritizing. Wonderful. We're manifesting new business. And that's like, I really am such a strong believer in what we speak about, we create. And so if we speak out loud to ourselves that we have all the clients that we need, they show up, they are here. If we speak to ourselves that all the funds that I need are available to me, they will show up. And I'm talking about that big remodel you've got coming. All the funds that I need are available to me. All right, girl. Well, we have talked a bit about scheduling and
Do you
we
feel
have kind
like
of
you
seen
got
how it works.
everything
So she
through?
just got this message. Yeah,
No, it's
I
just
just wanted to point out that you just got this message and I think it connects to one of your software pieces. And so one of the things you've also done to help keep yourself in check and on schedule in check is
I'm
you
never
you
in
use
check.
software, you use tools.
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
I'm never in check. I don't know what you're talking about. No, but yes, I use it's massage book, but we can do coaching and everything through it. It's something that helps
Mhm.
people can schedule online, people can, and for me, my business aspect is completely taken care of as far as my massage business, my everything's scheduled, everything can people can schedule whenever they want. They can text me, they can, but it's the other aspect that it's me scheduling things to do. That's where I have the I won't say problem. That's where I have the slight barrier up there. And
The struggle.
the
I
struggle, there
struggle.
you go. I struggle with.
I struggle.
But
Thank you
when
for
it
struggling. I need you to struggle so that you can see your strengths. And I need you to struggle so that when I struggle, I'm comfortable sharing with you my struggle. Because if you occur to me as all strengths, girl, I won't ever tell you where I struggle. And so like, I know it's hard, but like, it's okay to right away be like, oh my God, that's the part that's hard for me. It's really hard. I really struggle there. I really struggle. And I guess that's why, again, this podcast is so cool. And I want to put it out there again. We will begin interviewing soon. We are happy to, pardon me, someone's telling me we're supposed to be places right now. We are happy to do a coaching session live. We are happy to do a coaching session behind the scenes. If you'd like to showcase your business, we would be happy to have you on the podcast to showcase your new business if you're launching. So that's another way that I keep myself on track with scheduling. I have a post-op baby girl right now who needs meds and food, and that was my time. And I know Megan has to get places as well.
Yeah, I
So
gotta go get my
we're going to go
daughter.
ahead and wrap up the podcast. But this is how we live our lives, and this is how everything gets done.
Yes, and for those that think that their lives are crazy, it really does come down to scheduling. And there are things that I know have to be on my schedule. They have to dinner's almost always at 6 p.m. Like I am very specific about a lot of things, and it's the ones that are not they're important, but they're not a high like they should be a higher priority than they are, to be honest with you. But laundry is not more important than them. But it's a matter of setting your priorities, and it's a matter of really scheduling your life out. And it can be very difficult. It can be a struggle because you want to leave yourself. I like having that feeling of freedom, not living by a schedule. But at the same time, I know I already have one schedule. I have my booking, my massage schedule, my coaching schedule. I just need to stop thinking the rest of my life doesn't need to be scheduled. But it is really, really important. It is very important. It's a very awesome tool to have to help keep you less overwhelmed.
Yeah. And especially if you're feeling that overwhelmed feeling, you can look at your schedule and know I have a whole day off coming. I have a day of rest planned. I have a movie night scheduled. And it's important to have PPAs, planned pleasurable activities, on your calendar at all times. Maybe we haven't really talked about it too much, but I intend to hold you accountable to going on a cruise in January. We just haven't dived into that because I know you need it and I know you deserve it and I know how much you want it. We're accountability, we're action plans, we're mindset, we're beliefs. We're going to go ahead and wrap up this podcast and we will see you again shortly.
I'm living for the day.